Welcome back. Today we will learn about the shocking revelation surrounding the DiMera family legacy and the explosive claims that have sent tremors through Salem's most powerful dynasty. Recent developments in Salem have brought forth earth-shattering news that threatens to reshape everything we thought we knew about the notorious DiMera patriarch. Irna DiMera's startling revelation in a dramatic turn of events that has left viewers on the edge of their seats. Irna DiMera finds herself in the unprecedented position of being the messenger for what could be the most significant supernatural development in Salem's recent history. Susan Banks, with her renowned psychic sensibilities, has made a declaration that reverberates through the very foundations of the DiMera legacy. Her claim that Stefano DiMera's presence can be felt within the walls of the family mansion represents more than mere supernatural speculation. Susan's pronouncement that Stefano DiMera is alive sent immediate shockwaves through the family, particularly affecting E.J. DiMera, who was forced to confront the possibility that his father's influence might extend far beyond the grave. This supernatural detection occurs within the very heart of the DiMera domain, lending credence to the idea that Stefano's power transcends physical limitations. The implications of Susan's psychic revelation extend far beyond simple family drama. If her supernatural abilities have indeed detected Stefano's continued existence in some form, it could fundamentally alter the power dynamics within Salem's most influential family. Tony DiMera's mysterious reaction when confronted with Irna's relay of Susan's extraordinary claims. Tony DiMera's response reveals layers of complexity that suggest far more knowledge than he initially lets on. His characteristic chuckle, while appearing to dismiss the supernatural revelation as impossible, carries undertones that hint at deeper understanding of forces beyond the ordinary realm of human experience. This reaction, seemingly casual yet potentially calculated, raises profound questions about Tony's true awareness of his father's status and the mysterious circumstances surrounding the DiMera family's current situation. Tony's behavioral patterns in recent months have displayed subtle but significant deviations from his typical character traits, leading astute observers to question whether the man currently occupying the DiMera mansion is indeed the Tony everyone believes him to be. His increased focus on corporate matters, particularly his obsession with reclaiming DiMera Enterprises from Titan Industries, represents a marked departure from his historically more detached approach to business affairs. This newfound corporate ambition, combined with his apparent lack of concern for long-standing friendships, particularly his notably absent communication with Marlena Evans following John's death, creates a pattern of behavior that seems fundamentally inconsistent with the Tony DiMera that Salem has known for decades. The timing of Tony's reactions and his seemingly dismissive attitude toward Susan's claims could be interpreted as a sophisticated deflection mechanism designed to protect knowledge that he cannot yet reveal. His laughter might serve as a psychological barrier, shielding him from having to confront truths that could expose his own involvement in events far more complex and dangerous than anyone currently realizes. The Andre DiMera connection. The possibility that Andre DiMera, presumed dead after his confrontation with Abigail Devereaux, has somehow returned to Salem in the guise of his identical twin Tony adds a sinister dimension to the unfolding mystery. Andre's history of deception, manipulation, and identity theft makes him the perfect candidate for orchestrating such an elaborate ruse, particularly given his previous successful attempts at assuming Tony's identity for extended periods. The prospect of Andre's resurrection, possibly in conjunction with Stefano's return, creates a scenario where the DiMera family's most dangerous elements could be working in tandem to reclaim their dominance over Salem. Andre's documented history of plastic surgery to maintain his identical appearance to Tony, combined with his ruthless ambition and complete lack of moral constraints, positions him as the ideal puppet master for a grand scheme involving his father's return. His previous collaborations with Stefano in elaborate revenge plots and business manipulations established a pattern of father-son cooperation that could easily be resurrected if both men have somehow cheated death once again. The psychological profile that Andre has established throughout his numerous appearances in Salem demonstrates a level of strategic thinking and long-term planning that would make him capable of orchestrating a deception of this magnitude. His ability to maintain Tony's identity for extended periods while pursuing his own agenda suggests that any current masquerade could continue indefinitely, allowing him to position himself perfectly for Stefano's eventual dramatic return to power. The Phoenix rises again. The legendary moniker of the Phoenix has defined Stefano di Mera's relationship with death throughout his decades-long reign over Salem, and recent developments suggest that this supernatural cycle of death and rebirth may be preparing for its most spectacular manifestation yet. Stefano's history of miraculous returns from apparent death has become such a defining characteristic of his character that Salem residents have learned to treat any news of his demise with healthy skepticism. The current situation, with multiple supernatural and circumstantial indicators pointing toward his continued existence, fits perfectly within the established pattern of phoenix-like resurrections that have made Stefano one of daytime television's most enduring villains. The technological possibilities for Stefano's return have been demonstrated through previous storylines, particularly the Stefano arc where Steve Johnson became a vessel for Stefano's consciousness through advanced brain chip technology. This precedent establishes that Dr. Wilhelm Rolf's scientific capabilities, combined with the di Mera family's vast resources, could facilitate Stefano's return through means that blend cutting-edge science with the supernatural elements that have always surrounded the di Mera patriarch. The emotional and psychological impact of Stefano's potential return extends far beyond his immediate family to encompass every relationship and power structure within Salem. His legendary obsession with Marlena Evans, his complex relationships with his children, and his historical conflicts with law enforcement and rival families create a web of interconnected storylines that could explode into chaos upon his return. The very mention of his possible survival has already begun to destabilize the carefully constructed peace that Salem has enjoyed in his absence, suggesting that his actual return would create upheaval on an unprecedented scale. The implications for Salem's future: the convergence of Susan's supernatural detection, Anna's reluctant message delivery, Tony's suspicious reactions, and the growing speculation about Andre's possible resurrection creates a perfect storm of circumstances that could fundamentally transform Salem's social and political landscape. If Stefano di Mera has indeed found a way to cheat death once again, his return would not only vindicate Susan's psychic abilities but also expose the intricate web of deception that may have been operating within the di Mera family for months or even years. The business implications alone of Stefano's return would send shockwaves through Salem's corporate community, particularly given Tony's recent aggressive moves to reclaim di Mera Enterprises from Titan Industries. If the current Tony is actually Andre operating under false pretenses, and if Stefano's return is imminent, then the corporate maneuvering taking place could be part of a larger strategy to position the di Mera Empire for a triumphant restoration under its original patriarch's leadership. The psychological warfare that would inevitably accompany Stefano's return would target every individual who believed they had finally escaped his influence. From former lovers to business rivals, from law enforcement officials to family members who have built new lives in his absence, everyone in Salem would be forced to confront the reality that the Phoenix has once again risen from the ashes to reclaim his dominion over their lives and destinies. This extraordinary situation promises to deliver the kind of dramatic revelations and shocking twists that have made Days of Our Lives a cornerstone of daytime television drama for generations, ensuring that viewers will be captivated by every development as this supernatural mystery continues to unfold in the weeks and months ahead. Next, we dive into the swirling theory surrounding Tony di Mera. Is he truly who he claims to be, or is something far more sinister at play? Could Andre be masquerading as Tony? Is Stefano pulling the strings from beyond the grave, or even from within Tony himself? Let's unravel this tangled di Mera web. Who is Tony di Mera? Really? Tony di Mera has long been a familiar presence in Salem, elegant, polished, emotionally complex, and generally more moderate than his darker di Mera relatives. But recent months have brought an unsettling shift. Tony's demeanor, priorities, and behavior have changed. His sudden aggressive takeover tactics at di Mera Enterprises, his emotional detachment, and particularly his coldness in the face of John Black's death, someone Tony has respected for decades, have not gone unnoticed. For many longtime residents of Salem, something feels off. And perhaps it's not just paranoia. Theory 1, is Tony actually Andre in disguise? Let's start with one of the most tantalizing possibilities. Tony is not Tony at all, but Andre DiMera posing as him. We've been down this road before. Andre has impersonated Tony multiple times in the past, using everything from facial reconstruction to forged documents to slip seamlessly into Tony's life. His pattern of deception is well documented, and terrifyingly effective. Consider this, Tony's abrupt corporate obsession. Historically, Tony preferred art, literature, and diplomacy. Andre, however, thrives in power games and corporate manipulation. Tony's emotional coldness. Tony has always had strong personal ties, especially to Anna. Lately, his relationship with her has felt strategic. Less passionate. Less genuine. The timing. Andre was believed to be dead after a violent altercation with Abigail Devereaux. But believed is the key word. Salem has a long tradition of mistaken deaths, especially among DiMeras. What if Andre survived, found his way back, and assumed Tony's life? There's also the eerie possibility that Tony has no idea he's been replaced. If Andre pulled this off while Tony was incapacitated, or worse, then the real Tony may be imprisoned, hidden, or even eliminated. Theory 2, is Stefano inside Tony? Another jaw-dropping theory has emerged, that Stefano DiMera has somehow returned and is now inhabiting Tony's body. It may sound absurd, but in Salem, nothing is off the table, especially where Stefano and Dr. Rolf are involved. Let's revisit the Stefano arc DR. Rolf, Stefano's devoted and unhinged scientist, implanted a chip into Steve Johnson's brain, turning him into a vessel for Stefano's consciousness. The technology exists. The motive exists. And if it could happen to Steve, why not Tony? Clues pointing to this theory include Tony's odd laughter at Susan's declaration that Stefano is alive. It wasn't just dismissive, it was unsettling. Too controlled. Too knowing. Shifts in personality. Stefano, when operating through Steve, still retained some of Steve's mannerisms, but slowly overtook his host's personality. Could Tony be experiencing a similar transformation? Could Stefano be lying dormant inside him, waiting to fully awaken? Stefano's love for legacy. Who better to return through than his own son? Stefano has always believed the DiMera bloodline to be superior, and inhabiting Tony would give him an ideal combination of access, heritage, and corporate leverage. Even Susan Banks, with her erratic but often accurate psychic insights, insists that Stefano is alive. But what if what she senses isn't a ghost haunting the mansion, but a living presence, quietly wearing the face of Tony DiMera? Theory 3, Tony is Tony, but involved in Stefano's return. What if Tony is himself, but has willingly allowed Stefano to return, or is working to facilitate it? This theory splits the difference between the extremes. Tony may not be possessed or impersonated, but he may still be complicit. This could explain his reluctance to engage with Anna about Susan's claims, because he already knows they're true. His dismissal of supernatural talk, not because he doesn't believe it, but because he wants to prevent the truth from spreading. His business maneuvering, not to benefit himself, but to prepare the empire for his father's return. It's entirely possible that Tony, grieving the loss of his father and desperate to preserve the DiMera name, has become part of a larger resurrection plot. If so, he may be aiding Dr. Rolf in secret, using his influence to clear the way for Stefano's re-emergence, not as a ghost or chip, but in full physical form. The phoenix always rises. One undeniable truth remains: Stefano DiMera is never truly gone. Whether his consciousness is dormant in Tony's mind, whether Andre has returned to facilitate his resurrection, or whether Tony himself is working behind the scenes, all signs point to the return of the phoenix. Stefano's legacy, like the mythic bird he styled himself after, is one of constant rebirth. And now, with eerie signs, psychic declarations, and behavioral shifts among his closest blood, the conditions seem ripe for his most explosive return yet. Final thoughts. The calm before the storm. If Tony is Andre, Salem is in grave danger. If Stefano is in Tony, the danger is even more profound, for it means the phoenix has not just returned, but found a host. And if Tony is knowingly assisting in this plan, then the Demaras may be orchestrating a coordinated comeback that could topple every power structure in Salem. The mansion's walls are whispering secrets. Susan hears them. Anna senses something wrong. And Tony, or the man claiming to be him, may hold the key to the most diabolical twist in Demera history. Stay tuned. The storm is coming. And the phoenix may already be among us.